Samantha. So before I get into this video, two quick things. One, don't know if you can tell, I chopped like half my hair off. This is just how I'm gonna look from now on. Just thought I'd address that. And second of all, I am filming on my phone because I am filming at home and I still haven't got my camera yet because I'm still home for the holidays. But I am actually going back tomorrow, which is why the background is a mess because packing and everything. So I apologize for that. Today I'm filming my November and December book haul and wrap up. I actually already filmed the November portion, so I'm just going to insert that clip in a minute. So I'm gonna start off briefly with the haul. I really did not get a lot of books recently. I've been really good with my book buying ban. My book buying ban was supposed to last until I came back for the holidays, and I was successful. I did not buy any books that I didn't need for school, which was hard. Trust me, it was so hard, but I succeeded, and I'm probably gonna be doing that again, although I'm thinking of doing read 5 before you buy, so it might be a little bit different. I might treat myself from time to time. But I did acquire 4 books in December, although 2 of them are not like reading books. So the first book that I got in December was one that I've already packed it, so I can't show it to you, but it was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I've been dying to read this book since it came out, but obviously I couldn't because of the book buying ban. I haven't read it yet, but I will be reading it soon because I think I'm going to read it during the biannual bibliothon. The second book I have is one that, like, when I saw this come out, I was like devastated that I couldn't buy it because of the ban. I was like, I need it so badly, and that is the 10th anniversary edition of City of Bones. It is so gorgeous. This was like one of the first things I ordered when I came back because I was like, I need this in my hands desperately. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. This has like bonus artwork and illustrations. That's the same thing as this beautiful hardcover edition, and I'm obsessed. I'm just really happy to have this in my hands. Now the next book I have is one that isn't a reading book, and that is this cookbook, which is 15-minute vegan, because in case you didn't know, I am in fact vegan, and I have been for a while now. It's been like on and off for a few years, but like properly on since for probably about a year. I received this for my birthday from my mother's boyfriend. I'm actually super excited. I flicked through it like as soon as I got it, and all the recipes sound amazing, so I'm really excited to try this out. The final thing I got in December was this notebook. It came in my stocking, so it was from Santa. Really. But it's this moleskin journal. She actually got it from the Nespresso website. They flavored their coffee in like the flavors of the licorice all sorts, which is what this pattern is. These are all the different types of licorice all sorts, but I'm really excited because it's like a good quality journal. In November, I read 3 books, and the first one of those was Artemis by Andy Weir. Artemis is Andy Weir's second book. If you don't know, Andy Weir wrote The Martian, which I loved. I say it like this because I feel like I talk about it in every single video ever. I really enjoyed The Martian, so I was really highly anticipating Artemis. And I actually got a review copy from NetGalley, and I do have a written review which I will link down below because my thoughts are a lot clearer in that than they will be today because I read an Artemis like over a month ago. But I will link that down below in case you want to go read all my thoughts. In case you don't know what Artemis is about, Artemis is basically, it's set on the moon, and Artemis is the name of the place where everyone lives. It's like the country, I guess, or city that is on the moon. It follows our main character, Jazz, who she's lived in Artemis since she was 6 years old, and she smuggles things in which are illegal because she works as a porter. When the shipments come in, sometimes she gets some of that illegal stuff that they're not supposed to have and then gets extra money for that. And one day this businessman approaches her asking her to do something that is super illegal and quite dangerous, but he offers her a big sum of money for it. After that, a lot of stuff gets revealed and everything is just a bit crazy up on the moon. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I will say the first third was really hard to get into. It took me a week to read this book, and it took me 6 days to read the first third of the book, and then I read the last 2/3 of the book in one day. I just had to read it. I just could not put it down. I had like loads of work to do, but instead I was like, I need to finish this book. It was definitely a bit of a slow start, but it did definitely improve. But I think my problem was I kept on comparing it to The Martian, which I shouldn't have done, but it's really hard not to compare an author's works, and I just couldn't not. And The Martian for me was just so much better that I just kept on comparing it, and I was like, oh, but it's not as good. It was still a lot of fun. I do think that Jazz was a little bit annoying at times, and some of the humor was like very immature humor. Like it was sort of like on par with like That's What She Said jokes, which are not that funny. Yeah, some of the humor was just not entirely there for me, but overall it was quite an enjoyable story, and I did end up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in November, I started reading directly after I finished Artemis because I was just in such a reading mood because I had been a bit of a reading slump, and then Artemis got me out of it. And so then I picked up Getting Coal for Christmas by Kimberly Cray. I won this book in a Goodreads giveaway last November, and I didn't actually get it till March, so I didn't get a chance to read it last Christmas. So I decided to start early and read it in November this year. And this is actually a novella, so it was really short. I think it was 100 pages. I really feel like this is a book I would have enjoyed a lot more if I was younger. Like, if I was 14, I think this book would have been more up my alley, but as a nearly 19-year-old woman, I could not appreciate this book as much as I feel like I would have as a 14-year-old. It was pretty fun-ish, but it was also so cringy at times, and I hated all the characters that I just couldn't justify giving this book more than 2 stars. But this book is about this girl called Kylie, and she's in love with her best friend Cole, but he doesn't know. And then there's this winter dance, and all of her sisters get invited to the dance by a boy, but Kylie's like, oh my god, no one's asking me. This is so sad. If Cole doesn't ask me, that means he doesn't love me. And keep in mind, this girl's like 15, but she's like all about, oh my god, I'm in love with Cole. Cole is my everything. I'm so in love. And it was just so cringy. And I can't remember any exact lines, which made me want to die. There were some in here that just made me want to die. I found recently that books featuring like 14 or 15-year-old main characters, the characters are just so stupid and like things are so blatantly clear, but they just don't seem to understand what's going on, and it's really frustrating to read. I think I also have a written review for this one, so I shall link that down below as well. Now, the last book I have to talk about, I've already talked about briefly in a haul, and it's really, I don't have anything interesting to say about it really, so I'm just gonna quickly mention it. It's just a book I had to read for school, and that was Cuentos de Ava Luna by Isabel Allende. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed some of those stories, but other stories were weird and they went over my head. My favorite story was definitely The Gold of Thomas Vargas. So these were all of the books that I read in November. It's a pretty small stack. Now, December was a pretty good reading month for me in terms of like getting books done, but I didn't enjoy a lot of them, which is a shame. The first book that I read in December is one that I've been meaning to get to for ages because I got this last year at a book signing, but it was only like 2 weeks before Christmas, so I didn't have time to read it, and it's a festive book. I finally got around to reading it this year, and that was I'll Be Home for Christmas by a bunch of UK YA authors. I read most of the stories, however I did skip a few because they just didn't interest me. These stories were pretty great. They're all centered around home and like families and stuff like that. There were a lot of like divorced parents situations in these stories, like moving and like missing their old home and things like that. Just a bunch of stories centered around home and family and Christmas. A lot of them were really nice and I enjoyed a lot of them, but some of them were really weird, as it goes with anthologies. So I ended up giving this one overall a 3.75 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was actually by a UK YA author. That book was It Only Happens in the Movies by Holly Bourne. I recently hauled this because I went to the book launch for this and I started reading it like a few days after I got it, but I wasn't really getting into it, and then I like was just gradually like reading it over the semester, and I finally finished it in December, so it took me a little while. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars because it just wasn't my cup of tea entirely. This book is about this girl called Audrey who she just got out of a relationship and it was like a really bad one, and then she starts working at this movie theater. There's this guy called Harry there and he's a bit of a player, has a bit of a reputation, and everyone's like, oh, you guys are gonna get together, and she's like, no, and I'm not gonna say what happens. It's really just about everything that goes on, and in this book they also make a movie because Harry's like a film maker or aspiring one. I just thought it was kind of stereotypical. Like, I feel like I've read things like this before, so like it just didn't seem like anything special. I will say I enjoyed the like feminism aspect throughout. Overall, it just wasn't my cup of tea, so I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is one that I've already mentioned in my worst books of 2017 video, which I'll link down below in case you missed it. But that was The Girls by Emma Cline. I gave this book 2.5 out of 5 stars because I was expecting so much, but it was just so boring. It was really overhyped, I think. If you don't know, this book is about, it's like based off of the Manson family. They're not called that, but basically there's this cult and this girl joins the cult because she's obsessed with these girls that she sees. It's just about all of that, and it's set in the 60s, and then there's some from now like present day and then some from the 60s. So like you get to see how everything has affected her later on in life, which I think that was interesting, but like there wasn't very much of that, and there was so much of just like the main character just like being a teenager, but like it wasn't interesting. It was just told in a boring way, and I thought some of the stuff in here was very gross and unnecessary. This was not for me personally, so I only gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars, and I will be unhauling it actually. All of the books that I show in this video, apart from one, I will be unhauling just because I have no interest in rereading them in the future, so I just don't want them on my shelf because they're taking up space. The next book that I read was actually an ARC that I got at the Holly Bourne signing. I really thought this book was going to be quite funny. This was another one that I mentioned in my worst books of 2017 video, and that was The Unpredictability of Being Human by Linni Ingemundsen. The author is Norwegian. I have no idea how to say the last name, so sorry about that. This book is about a girl called Melon who is just like going about her life. Some stuff happens with her family. I'm not going to say what because it's like spoilers. She's like her going to school. her things that happen with her family. She doesn't really fit in at school. It's really sad, like some really sad things happen, but the problem is that the character is so naive, and it's like she's just clearly got some things going on which aren't addressed. So I feel like the character was just a really odd character to read from. She didn't really show that much emotion, which I thought was really strange. I thought it was pretty boring as well. It just wasn't for me, so I only gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, and I will also be getting rid of this. This came out on the 20th of December, so if you are interested in picking it up, you can now. The final book that I read in December was actually my favorite one of the month, so that's pretty good. Like, you know, we ended the year on a high note, and that was The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I finally got around to reading this, and it was really, really good. If you don't know what this book is about, this story follows two characters, Natasha and Daniel, over the course of a day. They've both got things going on in their life which is like going to be life-changing in some aspect. Daniel's got an interview for university, and Natasha is about to be deported back to Jamaica. This follows their story. My problem with this book is that it is sort of insta-lovey, but I still really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I just really liked the characters in the story. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars purely because of the insta-love, but everything else about it was really good. Nicola Yoon is just so fantastic. I can't wait for her to write more books. I think her books are really bittersweet, which I like. It's refreshing because a lot of YA is like super unrealistic. So these were all of the books that I read in the month of December. Quite a good stack. That is how I finished off the year. I would like to quickly apologize for the lack of like the end of the year / beginning of the year videos. I know that I'm a bit late, but I did have 3 essays due by the 10th of January, so I had a lot of work to be getting on with. I currently have a lot of work to be getting on with. I'm taking a break by filming this, and I shouldn't have, so I apologize about that. But the videos will be coming soon. As soon as I've done my essays and my exam that's on Friday, then I can just spend like the next week. I have no lectures or anything, so I'm just gonna spend that filming and editing and just reading and doing the things I want to do. Essentially. I'm sorry about that. I am back. I am very motivated to make videos during 2018, so hopefully I can get onto a good schedule for uploading things. That's going to be all for today's video, so I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below, and if you want to be notified whenever I do post a video, you can go ahead and click on that notification icon, and you'll get a little notification every single time I post. I'm really sorry, my nose is really itchy. Hopefully I'll see you soon with another video. Please comment down below what books you read in December, and if you've read any of these, feel free to leave your thoughts down below and we can discuss. But yeah, that's going to be all, so I'll see you very soon with another one. Bye!